I am so excited to speak with Sam today. Sam wants to enjoy life on his path to achieving financial independence, but sometimes Sam has a hard time spending money. Sound familiar? The one thing that Sam does different is that he's conscious about wanting to learn how to spend during his journey, which I think is a healthier way to approach financial independence. While Sam is on track to retire in his early 60s, after talking, it's clear he's being way too conservative. With the net worth that Sam has, he could easily FI well before that if he wanted to. Sam also recently lost his job, so we'll talk about that and the impact it has on his FI journey and how his FI journey is impacting his job search. I can't wait for you to hear about his financial journey and to take some lessons from him about enjoying the experience. As you know, this is the Fire series, which is sponsored by our friends over at Baselane. I'm Mindy Jensen, and I am thrilled to introduce BiggerPockets' new partner, Baselane, the all-in-one banking and financial management platform built for independent real estate investors. Baselane combines banking, rent collection, and bookkeeping to create streamlined workflows that save you time and give you a clear view of your cash flow. Get organized with unlimited accounts you can create for each property. Stop wasting time on manual bookkeeping with Baselane's auto tagging for your transactions. Visit baselane.com/biggerpockets and join more than 40,000 landlords who have stopped the busy work and started growing their rental property portfolio with Baselane. Baselane is a financial technology company and is not a bank. Banking services provided by Thread Bank, member FDIC. Now, let's get into Sam's journey. Sam, how did you discover the FIRE movement?
I stumbled across Ramit Sethi, and I saw yourself, and Carl on the podcast, and that was such an eye-opening episode. And I say that because this was sort of like a time machine or a window into the future where you can see someone who had reached FIRE, but at the same time had a little bit of trouble spending money. So I really want to get to know yourself, because Ramit said that you were this prominent figure in the FIRE movement, but at the time I had no idea who you were. So I want to get to know yourself and Carl and get to know this financial movement, get to know this FIRE movement, and kind of consume as much content as I can.
We got a lot of response from people in our same situation and also in your situation. Thank you for going on this show and, sharing your real selves and, your vulnerability, because I find myself in the same position, or I don't want to find myself in the same position, which is great. I didn't realize it was going to be quite so tough to record with Ramit, which I should have, because, he is very direct and he asks some pretty uncomfortable questions. But I really love that you took my story and said, okay, I want to be like her, but I don't want to be like her. I want to live my rich life. And that's Ramit's whole thing is, enjoy the journey. Don't just make a mad dash to the end and then try to figure out how to enjoy the journey. Because, I was actually speaking with someone last night at a friend's birthday party about how, it can be just as hard to go from super saver to spender as it is from spender to saver. If you're trying to change the way that you have always been, it's going to be difficult. So I love that you learned about financial independence and also learned about some of the pitfalls. And I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but it's still a problem that you have if you don't know how to spend your money. What's the point of having it if you never, ever, ever use it? So how far would you say you were into your FIRE journey when you first stumbled upon that episode? And that was episode 120 of the I Will Teach You to Be Rich podcast. If anybody hasn't watched it and wants to go check it out. It was a really great episode. It was really uncomfortable, but it was a really great episode and great advice of how not to proceed on your financial journey.
It's funny you asked that because I've always been a saver, and I was brought up in a household where, we were always taught to spend less than you make, no credit card debt. So I've always been saving for my retirement, and financial independence has always been the goal. So it's hard to tell how long away I was on that journey before I discovered this FIRE movement. And I would say right now, in terms of my FIRE journey, we are probably 20 years out to our FIRE number. Our FIRE number is roughly 2.5 million with a 4% rule of 100K withdrawal rate per year. So that's the rough ballpark. So we're about 20 years away from that.
Why are you 20 years away from that goal? Is it because you are not saving as aggressively as some other fire adherents do?
I guess you can say that. So I like to follow Ramit's what he calls the conscious spending plan, the CSP, and the rough guidelines would be 50% of your take-home pay would be for fixed cost, and you would have about 5 to 10% for savings, about 10 to 15% for investing, and then a good chunk of it would be for guilt-free spending. So I kind of modified it a little bit, and I do 50% for fixed cost. Then I know I have 50% left. I try to stick to the rule of 25% investing because that's what the guidelines of the money guys say. And I follow their math, and their math is pretty sound. And I have an extra 25% left. And with that, I split it with 15% savings and 10% guilt-free spending.
Okay. What types of purchases are falling into the guilt-free spending?
I sort of have the same trouble as you, Mindy, and I'm having some trouble spending money as well. And this is the year we're trying to spend money, and we're trying to go out to restaurants probably a couple times a week. We're trying to try new restaurants, try new dishes. We're ordering more. We're going to get a drink. We're going to get an appetizer, maybe a dessert if we can. We're going to go out with friends, treat them, host them. We're just trying to enjoy the money that we have.
Is there anything that is too difficult or too guilty for you to spend on?
There can be. It's always the case because it's tough to look at the price tag and you don't see value behind it. And one example, food is one of them. You can always tell yourself, I can make it at home, or I can buy something cheaper, or this or that. Clothes, I can get it somewhere else. I can get it thrifted. I can buy it on Facebook Marketplace, this or that, right? So it's still tough to spend that money at times, but we do have this guilt-free spending sort of bucket where we should be spending that money.
Do you spend all 10% every month, or do you have like a special account that you put it in, or a credit card that you use, or do you just kind of keep it in your head?
No, we don't spend. We're still trying to spend that 10%.
Same. So I'm right there with you. But I love that you are still on your journey and learning how to exercise your spending muscle. That is going to give you so much more success than me, because I am still trying to learn. And, my guilt-free spending, I recently had a birthday and I was shopping with a girlfriend, and we went into a store, and women will understand this. Men's jeans, like, they just always fit. I don't know why that is. And women's jeans don't fit. So I went into the store. I found 2 pairs of jeans in the same trip that fit perfectly. Like, they were made for me. I have short legs. They fit my legs. It was like insane. I ended up spending about $150 while I was shopping, which is obscene for me. But it's also, when I think about in terms of my net worth, it's nothing. Why am I getting worked up over $150 when it's not even a rounding error? That's like I pulled my wallet out of my back pocket and it fell out and I didn't even notice it in terms of my net worth. So getting all worked up about it, it just adds to your sense of anxiety and your guilt, and it doesn't get you anything. So I love this concept of guilt-free spending. How are you investing? You said you've got 25% for investing, and did you say 15% for savings?
That's correct.
Okay, so what's the difference between investing and savings in your mind, and where are you investing?
We'll start with investing first. And with investing, we're just doing a monthly automated payment and buy into index funds. Right now, we're putting it into the S&P 500, stock ticker VOO. So we're just putting into that and just still investing. We have to save some money for our RSP contribution at year end. So this is equivalent to the 401k in the US. So we have some money put aside for that. In terms of savings, how I define savings is deferred guilt-free spending. You might be saving for a vacation, and in my mind, that's just guilt-free spending later on. You might be saving for a car or a renovation, and in my mind, some of that is, half of it could be needs, half of it could be guilt-free spending, but it's just deferred. So we're still saving 15%. A good chunk of it is for vacation. A good chunk of it is for a new car. And again, I don't put too much concern into that, because to me, it's just bundled into deferred guilt-free spending.
Okay. And you mentioned that you have a FI number of about 2.5 in your 60s. Is one of those more important than the other? Do you want to work until you're in your 60s, or do you want to work until you hit your FI number?
That's a great question. I want to work until I hit my FI number. And it could be even sooner than that. Our FI number is very conservative. We're doing 2.5 million liquid, and this is not including the house. And this is not including any pensions or any CPP, is the Canadian Pension Plan, or the OAS, which is the old age security that we get in Canada. So we're doing it very conservative as well.
Do you have pensions? Does every Canadian get a pension, or is that more like in America, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't?
So there's two types of pensions in Canada. There's the workplace pension, which sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And everybody kind of gets a pension, kind of like Social Security.
I just did some quick math, and you're going to be spending around $8,000, $8,500 a month on your 2.5 million FI number. How much of that $8,000 to $8,500 comes from your pension that everybody gets, the similar to Social Security? And do you have pensions, workplace pensions?
So my wife has a pension. I do not, workplace pension. And in terms of the old age securities and the Canadian pension plan, which is similar to Social Security, that's probably about $1,000 to $1,500 a month.
Okay, so it's not a huge amount. So that really is similar to the Social Security. So you will need to save up a bit more. How much is your wife's pension?
That would probably be about $2,000 to $2,500 a month.
Okay, so hold on. Let's do some math. 15. Let's do conservative math. 1,000 plus 2,000 is 3,000. So now you only need to save up 5,000 a month, which is 5,000. Oops, that's 50,000 times 12 equals times 25 equals. Now you just reduced your FI number by $1 million.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Including all that information.
So now you're at 1.5, which is a little different than 2.5. That's you're going to get there a lot faster. What is your current net worth?
Our current net worth, and this is not including the house, our current liquid net worth is roughly around 500 to 600K.
So you only have to save up or invest to another $1 million. I think your timeline's going to be shorter. How old are you right now?
I am 38.
Okay, so let's say over the course of the next 10 years, you get to 1.5 million, which is not your 2.5 million, but you get to 1.5 million. Would you consider retiring, or would you want to continue to work?
I would consider retiring. At the very least, go part-time.
Okay. And this is fun to think about. Having all of these options is the whole point of financial independence. If you love your job, like some of us do, you're not interested in quitting. You're not looking to leave your job, but also you have the option to, if all of a sudden everything changes. I know a girl who loved her job, didn't understand why I was pursuing financial independence, absolutely loved her job. And then all of a sudden the boss that she loved left, she got a new boss, and she's like, oh, I see why you do this now. Because I never had that great boss until BiggerPockets. I had the boss that was like making you want to quit every single day. So just having all of these options. Oh, wow. Now I have 1.5, and with the pensions, that's going to totally get us to wherever we're going to be. And I just got a new boss, and I don't particularly love my job anymore. So now I have these different ideas that I could do, or I really like it, but I want to go part-time. I think there's a lot of optionality out there. One of the fun things is just like playing with the numbers. But Sam, we've been talking about work and jobs and income. You recently lost your job. How does your FIRE journey impact your mental state when you're doing a job search?
I think right now, budgeting wise, we've just cut down to our bare necessities. So we've cut down all of our guilt-free spending. We're not going out anymore. We're just grocery shopping, meal planning, cooking at home. And at the same time, we're just trying to limit our expenses. But we know this is temporary. I'm looking for work, and I will find something. And I think this is something that sometimes it's out of your control, but you have to keep positive and keep going forward.
Yeah. And job loss is part of adult life, unfortunately. And I think most or all of us have experienced it at one time or another. Having that big safety net is so key. When I lost my job as an adult, I was married. And my husband had a great salary. We didn't spend all of his salary. So it wasn't really as big a deal as it would have been if, I was single and had no savings and nothing to, catch me when I fell. So because you're married, you've got a safety net. Because you've got this net worth, you've got a safety net. Because you're on the journey to financial independence, you've got a safety net. Because you are conscious of where your money's going, you're able to pull back on some of your spending. All these different safety nets are going to catch you like 4 different ways, which is awesome. Does it impact your job search at all, being on the path to fire? Like, are you holding out for the perfect job or, the perfect opportunity?
I'm looking for something that I would want to do, and I'm looking for work that I would enjoy. I'm not really holding out for the perfect job or what I was making before. I'm just looking for something that gives me a steady income and at the same time can still help me reach my fire goals.
How about salary compared to the one that you just left? I know that there are some people who are like, well, I need any job, so I'll accept anything right now and then just continue my search.
So previously, just in the ballpark, I was making a little over 100K, and I'm comfortable making anywhere 80 plus K.
Do you think because you have this safety net, you feel less pressure to apply for jobs?
I don't know if I feel that way. And I still have the emergency fund. I still have the net worth. But at the same time, I'm not bringing anything in. That C word really comes to mind. The contribution word comes to mind. And, there are times where I struggle with that and I feel that I'm not contributing. Gender roles kind of play a part too. Yeah, sometimes I struggle with that, but I know that my partner is very supportive and she doesn't put any pressure on me. She understands the situation and we're trying to keep it positive.
Yeah. So I was just going to ask, do you think gender roles play any part of this? Because when I lost my job, I was embarrassed that I lost my job. I was frustrated that I lost my job, but I didn't feel like I wasn't contributing. I mean, really, I wasn't making that much money anyway. At the time, I was making enough that my salary basically funded our 401ks, which is still contributing, but it's not like we were living off of his salary. So for me to not be contributing anymore wasn't such a big deal. But also, like, I got fired on a Friday and I took the weekend to kind of, lick my wounds. And then on Monday, I applied for unemployment. This was way back when you found jobs in the newspaper. I think monster.com was just starting. I went through the newspaper on Sunday. I circled everything that looked even remotely interesting. And Monday I sent out 50 resumes. I was anything that looked even remotely interesting. I was a little more desperate, I think is the right word, to get a job just because I didn't like to be idle. And this was before we found financial independence and before we discovered that you don't have to work until you're 65. So I was trying really hard to mitigate my downtime, and I would have taken any job that would have hired me. Because you struggle with the C word, do you think you'd be able to retire early and be happy? Because once you are no longer working, you are no longer contributing. Or does it not really matter because then you'll have this level of financial independence? Like, is your partner going to also quit around the same time you do?
The plan is for us both to quit. And once we both quit, I don't think we will have that mindset of not contributing. I think we can live off our, the 4% rule, and we can just enjoy the time we have together and then do what we want and do what we care about.
What are your plans for retirement?
My plans for retirement is I want to travel and I want to live in just different parts of the world a couple months at a time, and just to take in the culture, take in the food, the language, and just how people live. Yeah, a couple months at a time, really slow travel and really just hike and enjoy what that country or city has to offer.
How do you think pursuing financial independence changes the fundamental way people perceive work and life?
I don't see it that different. And the reason why I don't see it that different is because in my mind, I think everybody is striving to be financially independent one way or another. At least everybody I know is saving for retirement. they're putting away money into whether it's a RRSP or 401k. And to me, that is one form of financial independence. Whether you retire at 65 or earlier, in my books, that's still financial independence. And I don't know if it changes people in that way.
Sam, what is your biggest takeaway from pursuing financial independence that you would like to share with our audience?
If you are just starting, I say that there are really 4 ways to financial independence. The 4 ways are, and you guys mentioned this many times yourself and Scott, would be saving money, making money, it would be investing, or owning an asset that either generates money or grows, like real estate or owning a business. The most important out of the 4 is investing. And it's the one that you can do passively and still gives you a really great return. With saving, you can only save so much. With making money, sometimes it's hard to make a high salary. You need education, you need experience. With a business, sometimes that's hard too. You need to spend equity, you need to know the right people, you need to put in the work. Investing is the only one that you don't have to do as much work, and you just need to stay disciplined and keep on investing.
I love that, Sam. Sam, thank you so much for your time today. This was really fun. Is there anywhere people can find you online?
You can find me on Facebook. You can just type my name, Sam Cito. I'm in the BiggerPockets group. I'm in the Mindy on Money Facebook group, and that's the best way to find me.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Sam. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more inspiring fire videos just like Sam's. This is Mindy Jensen signing off.